Welcome to Past Paradise. Today we explore Danica Patrick's amazing story, the small-town girl who became a world-famous racer and broke racing's gender barriers. After retiring from racing, Danica became a successful entrepreneur, author, and media figure. She's known for her Warrior clothing line, a best-selling health and fitness book, and the Pretty Intense podcast, where she discusses wellness, fitness, and personal development with famous guests. Danica's business zeal prompted her to start Somnium, a winery with high-quality wines. Her charity work and motivational speaking show her dedication to uplifting others. Danica Patrick shows grit and dedication throughout her career, from her daring racing days to her diverse career after racing. Buckle up as we follow this incredible woman's hazardous exploits. Born and raised in the Midwest, Danica Sue Patrick was reared in Roscoe, Illinois, in a much smaller town than Beloit, Wisconsin, where she was born on March 25, 1982. Surprisingly, she never considered herself to be a racing driver. She has had various ambitions as a youngster, like being a dedicated secretary, an enthusiastic singer, or a kind veterinarian. How did she then come to be one of the best female drivers in the world and transform the sport forever? That is to say, it all began when she was a tween. A family bonding activity. Danica Patrick and her younger sister Brooke were born to Terry Joseph T.J. Patrick Jr. and Beverly Ann (nee Flatton) Patrick. Their devoted parents were looking for a pleasant pastime that the four of them could connect over and engage in together in the early 1990s. Their adventurous girls had another kind of transportation in mind, although their parents had originally considered purchasing a boat. Following her experience with a friend's go-kart, Brooke became itchy to try go-karting herself, and soon Danica had the same need. Falling faster than driving for the finish line. Their parents purchased go-karts when Danica was 10 and her sister Brooke was 8. How awesome! After that, Danica developed an intense enthusiasm for racing, surpassing her own time to cross the finish line. As time went on, her enthusiasm and affection evolved into a desire to begin competing. She improved in all areas, particularly her foot and eye coordination. At 13, she even desired to relocate to California to compete all year round. However, it was just the start. Not just a driver. Danica explored other interests outside of racing when she wasn't occupied with her work on the racetracks. It's hardly unexpected that she had different hobbies as an adult, given her wide range of childhood aspirations. One is that she spends her free time babysitting and cheering for her high school sports teams. In the end, however, it all came down to her obsession with the tracks, even if she wasn't participating all year round. Fortunately, Danica's parents remained at her side, encouraging her to pursue her goals even if the family chose not to relocate to California. A well-oiled support system. Having your parents support you while you pursue ambitions is wonderful, especially through adolescence. However, Danica's parents were there to support her win. They weren't simply watching from the sidelines, encouraging their daughter. Her mother monitored Danica's statistics, but her father served as both the driver's racing instructor and the person in charge of pit stops during the competition. He changed tires, refueled, performed other maintenance on the vehicle, etc. Their first plan to locate a family-friendly activity seemed a success. They had no idea that this would turn out to be much more than that. Winning regional and national competitions. By the time she reached the age of 16, Patrick had won several go-kart championships in local and national events. However, the bold Danica wanted more than that. The adolescent competitor thought it was time to step it up once she eventually became old enough to drive legally. She decided to try her hand at road racing, which would be a significant change after 6 years of go-kart competition. Goodbye, Midwest. Hello, Europe. In the national go-kart scene, the fearless Danica was becoming quite a name for herself throughout her adolescent years. But when Patrick decided to give auto racing a shot in the new century, things were about to go to the next level. She wasn't alarmed by the fact that karts and vehicles had different braking systems, despite this being the main difference. She was prepared to test out a new sport internationally and be open to trying it out. Thus, Danica was prepared to bid the Midwest farewell and welcome Europe by the late 1990s. Breaking records. In 2000, Patrick distinguished herself by taking second place in the Formula Ford Festival, an annual British championship featuring Ford-powered single-seat racing vehicles, after she departed from high school to race professionally in Europe. She had lost to British racer Anthony Dennis Davidson by a mere half a second. Furthermore, at the time, her performance was regarded as the best ever finish for an American. Could you imagine her level of excitement? In a matter of years, her career would take off from there. Indy 500. You've undoubtedly heard of the Indianapolis 500 and other IndyCar races, even if you're not a huge auto racing fan, correct? If not, all you need to know is that it's the most renowned and well-liked racing event in the United States. Only a few female racers participated in this competition in the following decades, since it prohibited them from racing until the late 1970s. Danica Patrick, however, would have a once-in-a-million, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity in 2002. After 10 years of competition, she received an invitation from renowned former Indianapolis driver Bobby Rahal for her first IndyCar race. How amazing! She eventually lost out on competing in the Indianapolis 500 that year due to a poor season. Right before Danica's big break, Danica found out the next year that she would be eligible to race in the Indianapolis 500 only 2 years later, in 2004. I was ecstatic. It took me off guard, and I was all I needed, Patrick tearfully said in a 2011 interview with NTT IndyCar Series. Talent and ability alone are not enough to win in racing. It requires calmness, passion, patience, and a strong risk appetite. Undoubtedly, the fearless Danica could be an exceptionally talented racer. Nevertheless, she would have the opportunity to transform her potential into medals. Starting with a crash. This next year was revolutionary for the gifted and newly desired driver, but it also brought many ups and downs. First of all, Patrick's professional racing career didn't get off to the best start. She was preparing for the 2005 Toyota Indy 300 at the Homestead Miami Speedway, the season's first race and her debut in the IndyCar Series. But throughout the race, a few things began to go out of hand, which led to a collision involving many cars. Getting straight to the wall. Racing is risky since the whole activity involves you operating a large piece of equipment at really high speeds on a little track, while several other extremely fast cars are just inches away. How intense! Danger struck during the Indy 300 Homestead race in 2005, when one of the other racing cars started to slide out of control over the course practically. The car's suspension was broken, so it slid down the track, Patrick told NTT IndyCar Series. And as it was coming down the track, it clipped my right rear and sent me straight up into the wall. It was a huge hit. When Patrick committed to this demanding activity, she was aware of the hazards. She didn't anticipate that her first race would land her in the hospital, however, since she was so thrilled about traveling to the Indianapolis 500. In an interview with NTT IndyCar Series, Patrick said, "It was a huge hit. I don't remember anything from when I hit the wall to when I woke up in the medical center." Despite having a minor concussion that led to her hospitalization, she seemed to have recovered swiftly. Keeping her eye on the prize. Remarkably, Patrick's career didn't suffer much due to this collision. However, that is her greatest quality. She doesn't allow anything or anybody to stop her from pursuing her passions and keeping her eyes set on the goal. That same year, Patrick was going to create some quite unexpected history in the most groundbreaking manner possible due to her passion and dedication. Although it would have been fantastic to place in the top 10 in my first IndyCar race, the crash was disappointing. However, that's okay. I almost won a few races later, she said in the NTT IndyCar Series interview. Blow the world away. It was time for Patrick's first Indianapolis 500 race 2 months later, but the 2005 Indy races were far from done. The whole purpose of the race's moniker, the Indianapolis 500 or 300, is derived from the distance each competitor must travel to win. The drivers complete 200 laps of racing, going around the course counterclockwise in the Indianapolis 500, and Danica Patrick was ready to wow everyone with her amazing stunts on the track. Year's rookie. Danica Patrick could only concentrate on doing what she loved when she got into her race car and pressed the gas pedal. Danica Patrick had finished fourth among the 33 extraordinarily gifted professional drivers on the Indy 500 course. She finished in the top 10 and led the race for 19 laps, which is incredible, particularly considering she was a rookie. However, being acknowledged as an exceptional rookie was just the beginning. Becoming a role model in female sports. Danica Patrick won the titles of Rookie of the Year in 2005 and Most Popular Driver for 3 years running in the Indianapolis Racing League. She became so successful in the world of athletics because she was the first woman to lead in a historic race and finish in fourth place. Though she didn't have a personal role model, Danica Patrick emerged in the mid-2000s as one of the most inspirational female athletes. First female to win a major league race. Racing was something the aspirational female athlete was enthusiastic about and cherished. Over the next years, she gained considerable notoriety while putting in much effort to improve as a driver. In 2008, the 2008 twin-ring Motegi Indy 300 event in Japan became the culmination of her years of dedication and hard work as she won her maiden race. Furthermore, she again defied expectations by becoming the first female winner of a Major League open-wheel racing event. 2008's Top Search. How happy must she have been, do you think? At 23, Patrick broke records in the history of women's sports, became Rookie of the Year, and became one of the most well-liked drivers. And by the time she was 26 years old, she had set a phenomenal world record for female athletes. How amazing! However, the successes didn't end there. On AOL's annual list of top web, mobile, and video searches that year, she topped quarterback Tom Brady in third place and golfer Tiger Woods in second. Patrick had gained international recognition for her abilities as a model and her capabilities. I'm Just Me. Critics often believed that Danica Patrick's rise to fame was only attributable to her lucrative endorsement agreements and modeling work for major publishers like Sports Illustrated and IMG. But there's just one aspect of Danica's brand that set it apart. She only ever followed her convictions and did it in a way that was uniquely fierce and sensual. You may not agree with the things I do, but at least you can admire my honesty. I wanted to do big things, yet be true to myself, occasionally involving things that were not so PC or widely accepted. She told the LA Times, "I'm simply myself." The decades transition. The once small-town girl from the Midwest had risen to prominence as one of the most well-liked athletes due to her gifts, kind nature, and motivational accomplishments. By the time Danica Patrick switched to racing for NASCAR in 2010, she was sweeping the driving world, and things were really about to change. However, Danica had a major statement about her personal life that she intended to make public before any of the events that would change her professional life. From illness to adoration. Danica wasn't only concentrating on her profession throughout the mid-2000s. She met Paul Edward Huspenthal, her future husband, in 2002 before receiving her big break. When the two first met, Huspenthal, a stylish physical therapist for elite athletes, was treating her for an injury. They eventually went from being a therapist-patient connection to a romantic one. But based on how private their relationship was with the public, it seemed like they were mindful of the doctor-patient confidentiality agreement at all times. Future bride. Please remember that we previously discussed Danica's roller coaster of a year in 2005. Danica's titles for the year now include Bride-to-Be, in addition to Most Popular Driver and Rookie of the Year. That's correct. The two happy lovers tied the knot in 2005, 3 years after she first met Huspenthal. Additionally, it was evident that Paul was significant to her, even though the pair seemed to keep their relationship private from the public and press. Respectfully, given that Patrick's celebrity status was well known when they were married. acquiring knowledge from her life mate. Paul, Danica's husband, dealt with elite athletes, so it's logical to assume that he was aware of the intensity with which the public and press may handle personal lives. Although Hospenthal and Patrick kept their personal lives quiet, there's no denying they had a very close and unique relationship. Her spouse was at her side to provide support while she was traveling for her tournaments. In addition, he gave her sound financial advice on managing her present income and retirement funds. "He's just a bright guy. I picked up his caregiving skills from him," she said in a February 2012 interview with Today. Mutually sad decision. Unfortunately, a happy and long-lasting relationship is not guaranteed by how wonderful two individuals are together. Unfortunately, the pair decided to call it quits in late 2012. "I am sad to inform my fans that after 7 years, Paul and I have decided to end our marriage amicably. This isn't easy for either of us, but it has come to this mutually," Danica said in a formal Facebook message for her fans. "We will continue to be friends and significant figures in each other's lives." Another up and down year. 2013, like 2005, was filled with highs and lows. On the one hand, she had recently ended her marriage and relationship with her husband of more than 10 years, which is never easy. But on the other hand, she had begun dating another well-known driver, the gorgeous Ricky Stenhouse Jr. The two daring and stunning drivers dated for the next 5 years, but before the two speedsters reached the dead end, Danica had accomplished great leaps and bounds in her career throughout the mid-2010s, repeatedly shattering the glass ceiling. One more amazing up in 2013 was Danica's incredible accomplishments at the renowned NASCAR Cup Series. She not only qualified for the Daytona 500 race with the fastest time ever, but she also finished in the top 10. Her 8th-place finish earned her another title as the first woman to finish that high in the Great American Race. This major break with the NASCAR competitions broke even more glass ceilings for competitive female drivers, having a significant effect. Over the next few years, Patrick made headlines, won more titles, and shattered records. This was significant not only because she was the first fierce femme to achieve such success in NASCAR, but also because she had a significant impact on the industry as a whole, which is heavily dominated by men. Her tremendously inspirational influence also made it easier for more women to pursue careers in motor racing. That being said, Patrick wasn't necessarily focused on becoming one of the best female athletes of her era. A word to the people. That being said, Patrick was more concerned with inspiring people than just women. "I don't have a message for women, I have one for people. As human beings, we shouldn't be pigeonholed into a one-dimensional thing. I thought my strongest message was to do what you love to do and be yourself," Patrick told the LA Times in 2020. With that grounded and driven mindset, Patrick made a very important decision for herself in 2018. "Had my eyes always on the track." Even though Patrick and Stenhouse were both professional drivers, they still tried to keep their relationship secret from the public. Patrick told Fox News in 2013, "I don't normally say too much about my private life. I've always been focused on the track. I didn't want to confirm at Media Day so that we could keep the focus on the season, the Gen 6 car, my sponsors, and the team. That's what it's all about for me." Although the two appeared to be in a relationship for a while, with whispers of their eventual nuptials, they ended their affairs in 2017. She was considering terminating more than just that, however. New love. Strangely enough, Danica's greatest moments in her work life have also influenced her romantic relationships. Not long after her heartbreaking breakup with Stenhouse, Danica fell in love again. The strong femme fell in love with another athlete in a matter of months, but this time it was for football, a sport she had loved as a child. Despite their first meeting in 2012, Danica Patrick and Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, began a high-profile courtship in February 2018. Wishing the Packers luck. Danica was raised in Illinois, but her naive cheerleader self was more than delighted to support her beau's Green Bay Packers who also happens to be the state team of her birth. I told Rogers long ago I'd always root for him as a player. Now I am probably going to cheer for the whole team. Take out the word probably. Now I'm going to cheer for the whole team, Danica disclosed to the Associated Press. How adorable. Furthermore, as we previously discussed, Danica's work's high points coincide in some way with the events of her love and personal life. This implied that a significant event was about to occur. The red carpet that made people talk about it. Danica Patrick hosted the 2018 ESPY Awards. Although her performance reviews were divided, and some reviewers felt her comic timing lacked timing, her red carpet appearance was praised greatly. Danica demonstrated her sense of style while donning a stunning Saint Laurent mini dress. Not to mention her cutout sandals by Francesco Russo had everyone talking. The Speed Queen steps down from her royal seat. After 13 years of thrilling, industry-shattering years, Danica realized in 2018 that she was ready to move on to other endeavors. It was no longer in my heart. The opportunity to advance, improve, finish stronger and stronger, and eventually win is what I find so fascinating about racing. And I just thought it was something I had less and less control over, Patrick told Nightline. She even said in a 2019 interview that she doesn't really miss racing now that she is retired. However, one more glass ceiling needed to be shattered before the Speed Queen stepped aside from her position of authority to concentrate on other endeavors. Danica Double. The cunning and elegant driver declared her retirement in 2018, but she also said she would compete in 2 more races that year. Her 2 favorite races, the Daytona 500 and the Indianapolis 500, were combined into what became known as the Danica Double events. Naturally, however, the charismatic Danica had to go out on a high note and pull off one more incredible industry-shattering event. As the first female host, she was duly chosen to present the first-ever live ESPN Sports Awards show on ABC, the ESPY. How incredible! Unfollowing someone on Instagram. Everything was going well with Patrick and Rogers after they had retired from competition for 2 years. However, it seems that there were issues in paradise. It's incredible how much of the world now uses social media as their primary means of contact, and Danica's relationship update reinforces that trend. They grieved when the media discovered that Danica Patrick had unfollowed Aaron Rodgers on Instagram in July 2020. Naturally, rumors started to circulate in an attempt to ascertain whether or not they broke up. Are the rumors true? Fans are bewildered and devastated since she and Aaron seemed to exchange several endearingly touching postings on social media despite Danica's preference for maintaining their privacy. Though the cause hasn't been made public, the depressing reports of their breakup after 2 years together have been verified. However, given her background, we know that Danica Patrick is a tough decision-maker who values acting in her best interests. Because of this, we're ecstatic and pleased with the courageous driver's progress. Very powerful warriors and dreams. What has Danica Patrick been doing after her incredible career as a race car driver? She's always been an excellent businesswoman and entrepreneur throughout her professional driving career. She has written and published her book, Pretty Intense, started her podcast, and created her apparel line, Warrior. She also has her own wine company, Omnium. Is there anything she is incapable of doing? She was presented with an incredible chance in 2019 that she could not refuse. A cool cameo appearance. The 2019 season of Charlie's Angels debuted, starring Elizabeth Banks, Jacqueline Smith, Naomi Scott, and Kristen Stewart. However, who could have predicted who would be cast and appear in the trailer? Yes, only Danica Patrick had a brief appearance in the movie. How enjoyable. In an interview with Build by Yahoo, Danica said, "It's cool when you get asked to do those little things that kind of honor your profession or what you've done." Give the roses a sniff. She intends to do much more, from participating in charitable endeavors and events to giving motivational speeches in public, encouraging and maintaining healthy habits, and promoting her amazing list of passion projects. Danica shared a photo on Instagram, after the first Indy 500 that I came close to winning in honor of Father's Day in June 2020. The comment read, "Now and forever, I am so grateful you are my dad. I learned from you how to work hard and have dreams. Let's now take it easy and enjoy life. It passes by quickly." This ambitious, compassionate, motivated, and passionate lady has accomplished a great deal in her first 30 years of life, and she wants to achieve much more, but at a speed that will allow her to take time to appreciate the beauty of life. I found myself choked up. Danica Patrick returns to driving in ways we never expected, just when you thought her career was over. Danica Patrick was graciously invited to co-host the 105th Indianapolis 500 show and drive the pace car, a 2021 Corvette Stingray, during the race. How thrilling! A genuinely beautiful individual won her 4th Indianapolis 500. The celebrity posted on Instagram saying, "The sun was shining, people were everywhere, and I drove the pace car. I worked with amazing talent on the broadcast. There was great action on the track. And I started to cry. Only 4 people have done it in history. However, it was not the day's sole historical event." An important day in history. In May 2021, Danica returned to the Indianapolis 500 course, which was a historic occasion for both the race and her. Specifically, why? Because the COVID-19 outbreak caused the first race in history to be held without any supporters or spectators. Therefore, even if the epidemic had postponed many international athletic events, or at the very least, the ability to watch sports, 2021 became a memorable year for many reasons for that reason alone. Yesterday was above average. How many have we experienced in the previous 14 months? Patrick said in a post on Instagram. A want to investigate. Danica Patrick has been concentrating on other modes of transportation in 2021 than racing cars. Patrick had experienced several significant life turning points throughout the epidemic and lockdown. She went through a difficult breakup, concentrated on promoting her goods and leading a healthy lifestyle, and of course, was confined during lockdown like everyone else on the globe. It follows that the aspirational and motivational role model has a strong desire to go out and discover new things. But did she succeed in realizing that dream? There is a way, if there is a will. If there's one thing we've learned about the amazing Danica, it's that she has shown us time and time again that anything is possible with enough motivation. One nation at a time, she is accomplishing her goal of seeing the globe with her loved ones in 2021. She has previously been to many locations, like Egypt, Cabo, and even Chicago's Windy City, and she has always been sensible and cautious while traveling. In February 2021, Patrick told People, "Everything's done responsibly, and yes, you have to take more tests to go places, but look, it doesn't mean it's impossible." Always pushing her boundaries. What else is so fantastic about Patrick? The reality is that she embodies so much more than just being a top athlete. She genuinely understands the value of mental exercise and maintaining good mental health. The 39-year-old has loved seeing the world's treasures and has learned much about history throughout her travels. Having said that, she nevertheless harbors a genuine spirit of exploration. Therefore, Danica has not only been exploring new locations, but also trying out new things, such as wakeboarding, snowboarding, and riding camels. Putting strengths and weaknesses in focus. Since she ended her racing career, Patrick has experimented with various other sports and pastimes, such as snowboarding and skiing. But she does all these things because she wants to challenge herself to improve. Her weakness is backbends. Therefore, she just shared some motivational comments on Instagram about concentrating on your talents and weaknesses. She said with excitement, "I wanted to work on backbends because it's not an area I shine in, and this was to work on my hips and thighs to go deeper, and it worked." She has been doing more in 2021 than just concentrating on herself. Running wild with Bear Grylls. Bear Grylls is the quintessential guy of the outdoors and everything terrifying that comes with being in nature, even if you haven't seen any of his programs. And who gets to feature in one of his performances in 2021? I accomplished everything that terrifies me. It makes sense, yet progress always lies on the other side of fear. I appreciate you teaching me to do what terrifies me. Not just to go do it, but to do it right now. Patrick shared her Running Wild adventure with Bear Grylls on Instagram. However, she also made other significant discoveries during her time in the program. Rise above a broken heart. Regarding female athletes, Patrick is, without a doubt, one of the most important role models. She encourages individuals to concentrate on their talents and shortcomings, but doesn't simply inspire women. She does this by pursuing her ambitions and facing her anxieties. In addition to conquering her concerns, she had another breakthrough when appearing on the television program Running Wild with Bear Grylls. Nothing throws you in the deep end like heartbreak when it comes to learning about yourself. I've learned a lot, and even though I was broken open on the sad side, I have experienced joy in a lot more situations and unexpected places than I have ever experienced. So it's as though my heart was broken open on both ends of the spectrum, Patrick said on the show. New objects, people, and places. Danica Patrick is a living example of the idea that age is only a number, not a constraint. She is always developing as a person, whether it is by trying out new hobbies or dealing with personal issues. However, Patrick has been doing more than exploring new destinations and experiences lately. She has also been plotting with a recent boyfriend. The co-founders of chef-prepared freshly meals, Carter Comstock and Patrick, became public and official in the spring of 2021. Even though everything is new, the two seem very pleased.
If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon